Okay.
So it's preparing, just give it a sec, preparing for a live stream. Okay, so we're on, Jeanette.
Okay, thank you, Jason. Welcome to the AGM, the West Nipissing Environmental Services. First, you all received your agenda and your documentation.
Yeah.
So we'll go to declaration of pecuniary interest. Any?
No.
No? Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll go to number 2, which is the option of the agenda. You have it in front of you. Anything to add or no? I need a mover and a seconder.
I'll move that, Jeanette.
Okay, Louise. Seconded by
Rolly.
Ray. Okay, be it resolved that the agenda for the AGM meeting held on November 16, 2020 be adopted as presented. All in favor? Okay, against? Thank you. Carried. Okay, and we welcome among our members Dan Longlade from Baker Tilly to do his financial report for the year end. Hello, Dan. Okay, you have the...
I have the floor.
Yes.
Or I have the video.
Or the mic. The mic.
The mic. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome everybody to this virtual meeting. I'll briefly go through the financial statements if you don't mind. I don't believe we had a meeting with the board prior to this meeting. So I will go a little bit more in detail with regards to the financial statements, and our auditor's report will be dated today. Our standard report is still the same. It's all attached and basically just confirms what our responsibilities are and what the responsibilities of the board and its management are. And therefore, I'll just go, everybody's got a copy of the financial statements, if I'm not mistaken. I'll get you to turn your attention to the page where it says Statement of Financial Position. It's at the top. It starts with financial assets. It's in the financial statements.
That would be your page 1.
Page 1.
Good.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, this is a financial position statement that just gives you a picture of what environmental services look like as of December 31st, 2019. If we look, I'll just highlight a few points. With regards to the increase in cash, it's basically related to the revenue activities that took place during the year that we'll touch upon when we go through the revenues and expenditures for the organization. So the bulk of it is related to, funds from contaminated soil, increase in tipping fees, and an increase in garbage collection. With regards to your accounts receivable, we had a receivable for some recycling revenues we hadn't collected at the end of the fiscal year 2018. So that blended into this year, and everything is comparable this year. We don't have this special receivable at the end of the year. Your investments are basically with the co-op, la Coopérative Régionale de Nipissing-Sudbury, for $25,000. With regards to your accounts payable and accrued liabilities, it was just a reduction in accrued liabilities related to wages and benefits last year that didn't occur this year. Therefore, you've got a decrease of about $51,000. Okay, that means that at the end of the year, you have accumulated surplus of $910,000 versus $690,000 the prior year. So you've had quite an increase in the activities of the landfill and environmental services. Now, if there's any questions regarding the assets or the statement of financial position,
No.
No,
all
thank you.
clear, all clear as clear as it can be.
Yes.
With regards to, if we go to page, which in your package would be page 2, that is your statement of operations and accumulated surplus. Basically, at the end of the day, I spoke to you about why your cash has increased. If we look at your revenues, if you look at landfill site fees, tipping fees, they are substantially higher than budget. And that's just because of an increase in those tipping fees this year. Contaminated soil is another area where you've received a lot of contaminated soil in the year that generated significant amounts of revenue. As you're fully aware, this does not occur on an annual basis. This is something we try to measure and budget for, but depending on the level of activity taking place in construction in the area, this might come into play, and it did, for a significant amount of money of approximately $170,000 in 2019. And on the remainder of the revenues is just on the recycling area. Your recyclables are down, and it's mostly because you do not sell all your recyclables in one year. You try to and Jason, correct me if I'm wrong, you try to measure the market to see what's best, the best prices you can have. And at the end of the year, the prices weren't that great, Jason, if I understand.
That's correct. Yeah, exactly. The prices, the market was down.
That's right. So basically, we are affected by market conditions with regards to any recycling activities. Equipment rental is comparable, and of course, investment income is better, just because basically you had some significant increases in revenue in the year, like I indicated, that were significantly over budget. Okay. On your expenditure side, everything appears to be relatively comparable. And professional services, I'm very, very pleased to report that the increase is not because of your auditors or for professional services. They were for legal fees incurred for activities that took place in the year regarding some employee issues, et cetera, et cetera. So basically, those were mostly consulting and legal fees having been paid. On the salary and benefits side, there is a decrease, and you know what I mean, to the salaries as it was planned and in accordance pretty much with budget. The only reason the budget is less is because we had a retirement mid-year for the budget amount, and therefore it's a little bit less. Other than that, at the end of the year, your total revenues were $2,030,000, and your total expenses were $1.8 million, giving you an annual surplus of $219,978. Now, if I can turn your attention to one specific point, is if you compare your budget to actual, it's pretty close, with the exception of those extra revenues we got. So basically, if it wasn't for those unanticipated revenues, everything would have been pretty well in line with budget, with the exceptions of the points I brought up. Is there any other questions regarding the statements? I know I spoke quite quickly.
Good
No
job
questions?
Jason, on that.
Good.
Pardon?
Good job from Jason controlling expenditures.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I was
Just a comment.
I concur with your point, Jay, and he did not just send me an email to concur with you, so we're fine.
On the recycling, if I may, Madam Chair.
Wait.
On the recycling, you mentioned that it goes with the market, but that would be the steel recycling,
I think.
the steel recycling
Jason?
only.
The steel recycling will be reflective in 2020.
Okay,
So to answer you, Rolly,
Okay.
everything is market driven for recycling, so not just steel.
We sat on the steel in 2019, the steel
yes,
in 2020.
that's what I meant, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
we'll see
believe
that.
Thank you.
That's been the case, Jason, for other types of recyclables, right?
Correct. Yeah. So like the blue
Corrugated
box,
paper.
the blue box material, specifically the OCC, the cardboard, the market has been down. It's been it's been in a bad place for the last couple of years. We are seeing some increases right now, but we have no control over that. It's a market. It's a commodity based industry. It's market driven. So
It'll be
Yeah,
affecting,
Whoops, sorry, Louise?
okay.
so the market price will be affecting this year's revenue as well then.
correct.
And we're already almost done. Okay.
Yes. So regardless, we have to move the material because we only have so much amount of storage. So that's just basic cost or the basic price we're getting. But we got to remember that's still not going in the landfill. That's still,
That's right.
there's still a value associated with that.
Okay, thank you.
Roland? Roland,
Yes,
t'avais une
thank-
question?
Yeah, thank you all. To add to my comment, this what I was referring to is the only thing the only product that we hold back is the steel. The rest
Correct.
we have to ship because we don't have any way of holding it, like Jason just said. So the
Correct.
steel, we can hold it back. So
Yeah, we can hold
So that-
steel for
that was
about
my
3
comment.
years.
Okay.
thank you.
Okay, merci. Carry on, Dan?
Oh, that ends my presentation. With the
Just like
exception of
that.
what I presented, the notes to the financial statements have not changed significantly. The only thing you'll notice in the financial statements is there's a subsequent event note related to COVID-19. And at the time we added it just because we were asked by our institute to add note disclosure to all financial statements for the years ended December 31st, 2019, indicating the uncertainties related to COVID. I believe we've identified most of them. It's just that we'll leave that subsequent event note because we don't know what impact it's going to have on a lasting basis. So basically, next year you'll have probably note disclosure in the in our area where we make assumptions on estimates. COVID might have an impact. Okay. So that's the only thing that's unusual about the statements. And what's unusual is given COVID, we weren't able to get together prior to the annual meeting, but we will require a motion to approve those.
Yes. I have a motion here. I need somebody to move it and second it, and then I'll read it. I need the member, Louise. Seconded by Bertrand, merci. Be it resolved that the financial statements for the year ended December 31st, 2019 be adopted as presented. All in favor?
Yes.
Me? Against? No. Carried, thank you.
Madam Chair, I would like to say a few words if that's acceptable to the group.
Oh, yes, yes, you have the floor or the mic.
Like I usually say every year, usually in person, I really like to thank, Jay, Chantal, Brigitte, Lisa, everyone that helps us through the audit process. It makes it a lot easier for us in a collaborative way. And I just like to thank those people for the assistance they provided us, especially during this tough time. A lot of the audit procedures were done virtually, which is new to everyone. And they came out and helped us a tremendous amount. So I just like to thank them, and also like to thank the board for, giving us the mandate for the audit. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I thank you for your report. Jay?
Just a quick question. I'm looking at it just historically, just a comment while we can borrow Dan, but retained earnings of over 900,000 for this company. Do you have a comment? Is that a good place to be? I mean, you remember when we were negative, right? And we had to lend them money. So do you have any comment, Dan, on 900,000 on the gross, whether, to me, it appears very healthy and very secure at this point, but I don't know if you have a comment.
I think it's very healthy and very secure, and understand that our organizations need, how would you say, a cash flow buffer, to operate, which is called working capital. And unfortunately, in the past years, you did not have those surplus funds to allow you that capability. And that was, and because it's a municipal enterprise, you were able to get financing from the municipality for those difficult times. But, when you look at surpluses in organizations, this one, like I said, it's got a lot more uncertainty given it's market driven. There's a lot of things that are controllable, but a lot of things that are not. And as a result, it's always good for an organization such as this one to have a bit of a cushion, especially for unintended contingencies, like you use a lot of equipment infrastructure. Those have useful lives. They're difficult to monitor. Sometimes there's breakdowns that can be significant, and that requires some liquidity from a working capital perspective. So you're in much better health right now than you ever have been.
Yeah. On that line, Jason, who took over last year, what you're seeing now too, kudos to you, Jason. And, I know you have some assistance from when I return your calls once in a while, but Elisa and your partners in the office, but great job, because for those of us who've been around a little longer looking at these things, I know that Mr. Marlowe was there back in the day. Do you remember that? So this is a pretty good news financial statement. So just wanted to make that comment so that the board is aware. Thanks.
And
Thank you.
I'll just reiterate what Jay says. I can confirm what Jay's saying, because I've been around since the inception of Sturgeon Falls landfill. So basically now West Nipissing, and you're in a good position. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jay, for asking the question to get clarification for us also. Okay, so we move on to I don't know if Dan is staying for the whole meeting, or I would like to thank you,
If you
Dan.
don't mind, I'll like I usually do, beg my leave. Unless you would like my presence further, I will make myself available.
My only concern is with the Hollywood Squares, we're going to be down to 8. Other than that.
If I may, Jeanette.
Well,
Oui.
hopefully I won't be the square that is the what do you call that? The word of the day, or the puzzle of the day. So anyway.
Excuse Roland, oui.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I would like to also to thank Dan for his professional report, and Jay for helping out with Jason. Jason, you're doing a tremendous job. And that empty square of the Hollywood Square, we'll call it the Paul Lynn Square. Thank you.
I will leave you by saying, hopefully next year we will have the opportunity to do this in person, like we've been used to doing it for years. And
Yes,
You're right.
I hope and pray that we can get there. Thank you very much.
we're all hoping. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank
Thank you, Dan.
Yeah, Dan.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Okay. Okay, we'll move on to our next item on the agenda, which is my message as the chair of the board. Thank you for good evening and welcome to the annual general meeting. We usually do this before, but then we give a time to Dan to give his report, and then he can leave. As chairman of this committee, I would like to thank the board of members for their continued commitment and input during our meetings. This year has seen a change in our meetings via Zoom due to COVID-19, but we were still able to review the documents sent by email and approve the financials, as well as receive reports and updates. I would like to thank Jason, Chantal, and the staff for their continued commitment to their work and for keeping us informed so that we have a good picture of the ongoing activities and financials before making any decisions. The minutes are well kept and our meetings go smoothly because of teamwork. We also appreciate having the input from the municipal employees, Alyssa and Jay. Thank you for your guidance. Jeanette Rochon, chairperson. Thank you. That's it for me. We move on to item number 5, which is approval of the 2019 annual general meeting minutes. I need somebody to move.
Just have a comment, Jeanette.
Oui. Oui.
On the second page of those minutes, the manager's report.
Before-
twice it's
We
referred-
usually do the resolution, then we can discuss if there's any
Oh,
issues.
okay.
Is that okay?
No, that would-
Yeah. And then I can read the resolution, then we can
Sure.
discuss if there's issue.
Sorry for interrupting.
Okay, moved by Raymond, seconded by
Louise,
Louise. Be it resolved that the following minutes be adopted as presented. June 19, 2019 AGM meeting. Now it's open for discussion, Bertrand. Sorry.
That's okay. Just something very light here on the second page under the manager's report. Just the years are referenced, 2019. I think it should be referenced as 2018.
oh,
It's always a bit tricky there, doing the year prior. I might have said 2019. We can adjust that, right? Minutes.
I wasn't at the meetings. I'm reading.
We're talking about the agenda, the AGM minutes.
Oh,
Is that, Bertrand, what you're referencing, the AGM minutes?
Yes.
Yes.
Item 7, the manager's report.
AGM.
manager's reports, it stays.
Oh,
says-
yes.
And the AGM 2017 managers report.
Should be 2018, right?
Oh, yes, yeah.
But I think, to be fair with Jason, he was talking about 2019. Maybe it shouldn't have happened there, but he was talking about 2019. So you're right, Bertrand, but
So we will mention as amended,
Yes.
and Chantal will make the correction. Thank you.
Well,
So
yeah,
I've changed.
I guess what Ray says, the change occurred in 2019. So I mentioned, I was supposed to be speaking about 2018, but the line is briefly explain the role change which occurred in 2019. So the line is in fact correct.
Well, actually,
it should be crossed out if.
Or no, you're right. It is 2018.
yeah, because
Yes.
yeah, you mentioned the first 10 months of 2019, but our
It
meeting
should
was
be.
in June of 2000.
Yes. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. Yes. Working back in time.
Okay, I've made the correction in the
Okay.
minutes by hand, and I amended the resolution. All in favor
Okay.
to approve the minutes?
Yes.
Away? Against?
Yep.
No? Carried, okay. Okay, carried. Okay, we have a resolution to appoint the auditors for 2020. So I need a mover and a seconder.
Shaker.
Bertrand. And a seconder.
Louise,
Please. Be it resolved that Baker Tilly be appointed as the auditors for the fiscal year 2020 for the West Ipsing Environmental Services. All in favor?
yes.
Okay, thank you. Carried. Okay. And managers report. Jason.
Thank you, Jeanette. Okay, so I won't take up too much time here. Feel free to step in if you guys have any questions as I go through this. It's just a quick report, and I had to think back here because this is from January 1st to December 31st, 2019. So it was a while back, but 2019 was my first full year as manager of environmental services, and it was quite the interesting year. Most time was spent familiarizing myself with day-to-day operations, and of course, a crash course on fleet management, budget, and people management. So things were interesting to say the least. Some of the highlights, quote unquote, highlights of the year included the completion and adoption of the long-awaited waste collection bylaw, and more importantly, the implementation of that bylaw at the curb. So that was something nice to finally get done in 2019. Another interesting round of events, my first procurement process in purchasing a large recycling truck, which was an interesting kind of intimidating adventure, but all went very well and made me a better person to this day. Unfortunately, we're still waiting for this truck, but eventually it will arrive. Another highlight of the year, as mentioned by Dan in his discussion, was the Perry Island contaminated soil project. This was a massive bonus for West Nipissing Environmental Services, which generated significant revenue and also brought in over 5,000 plus cubic meters of soil that we can use for future landfill operations. Not only did this benefit West Nipissing Environmental, but it was also a worthwhile project, as this contaminated soil negatively impacted the Wasasking First Nation land since 1950 for over 70 years. So the cleanup project benefited the residents of that area greatly. Of course, we also had the IPM, which added significant time and efforts to an already busy year. I'm sure that I'm missing a few things, but I just want to give you guys a brief snapshot of the ongoings of 2019 and the sheer diversity of what we encounter on a regular basis. So what about 2020? Fingers crossed will all go smoothly and there'll be absolutely no additional challenges to deal with. Wink, wink, nod, nod. At this time, I'd like to thank all West Nipissing Environmental Services board members, staff, municipal council, and the public for the dedication and hard work in making all this possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jason. Any question for Jason? Nope. Okay. So we move on. You're doing a fine job, Jason. Keep going. Keep going. Item number 8, new items. We have none. So we move to item number 9, which is the adjournment. So I need someone to propose and second the adjournment. Ray? And anyone else? Bertrand? Be it resolved that this meeting be adjourned at 6:30. All in favor?
Right.
Against? None? Thank you, carried. Thank you, everyone.